drive-through
forever.
Did
runners.
the
So,
floor like in a
yeah.
16
but I got that in.
day
I
on a
got 3
Saturday.
massive azalea. White azalea.
And Karen, we had
I have to
one,
fly back
we had
tomorrow.
one piece of wood left over about that
Down
long.
there, we're selling. You got it. So we bought a bigger house, 5 doors
Well, I
down.
knew you were,
Five,
gonna-
six.
you wanted. We'll talk. What's that? That's me. What is it?
Just what was being said.
Who is that? What was that?
Oh.
Saturday night.
Ah.
Everybody, nobody talks.
Yeah, where was it? Biggest dick?
No. More of a camera.
So we don't look at
Yeah,
All done.
we're live now. Okay, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Welcome to the May 11th council meeting for the Village of Gates Mills. And it's our first one back after, 15 months, I think, something like that. And we're using our new technology. So for those that are viewing it, you'll have to excuse us if there's a few problems. We're going to get through it. I want to thank Chris Burke, who's doing all the technology here for us from Burke Brothers and has stayed with us and is teaching everyone and helping us along the way. So we really appreciate everything that's happened with the project. And we also have the technology in our council room at the town hall. So with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Allworder,
Here.
Frankel,
Here.
Reynolds,
Here.
Sog,
Here.
Turner,
Here.
Welsh,
Here.
Whitney.
Here. Okay, the first thing is the minutes of the council meeting of April 13th to 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Do we need to move as amended, as we got a second set of minutes?
I don't think
emailed
they're
to
not
us?
amended. They came to us.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I sent out an amended paragraph.
I know, but they're not amended. They're the same minutes.
Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yeah.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. Okay, next is pay ordinance 1249 for $398,170.16.
Move to approve.
Second.
Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. Now our financial statement and treasurer's report, Tim?
Good evening. Our revenues for the month total $305,367. Expenses for the month totaled $377,205. No transfers were made to other funds this month. All operating departments are at or below budget for the year. Our funds balance stands at $8,821,624. As of April 30th, our Ancora investment account totals $6,771,848. This is not including accrued interest because the April fidelity statement for the Ancora account was not yet available as of this morning. And that concludes my report.
Any questions or anything? Okay. Next is mayor's report. First, I want to say that the village is looking very, very nice. I don't know whether to move with this microphone. It's a little intimidating. So please say that to our service department. I had Carmela Hayes call me about the camp. Everything is falling into place for that, for the camp for this year. And they're working with the health department and whatnot. So it's all good. This morning at about 11:12, I actually went back and I got something at 9:30. We got the uh, rules that are governing the money that we will eventually get. It's 151 pages for our treasurer. I forwarded it to Janet and Tim and Ann to go through. Needless to say, I didn't really look at it much, but so the money from the federal agency will evidently be forthcoming. And the Ohio Municipal League is going to have tomorrow a meeting on it at 4:00 for anybody that's interested.
I'm signed up.
And and then I want to say, I hope you like the refresh in the community house.
Very nice.
New floor, new drapes, new
The
paint.
drapes look
Mhm.
beautiful.
And if you get a minute, you can go into the living room and the ladies' restroom and the front office too have all had things done to it. So it's a work in process. The furniture in there is what's next and the material's been ordered, but anything with decorating or building, the material is got a long lead time. It's kind of amazing. So we'll see it eventually. That is really all I have. Clerk's report?
Just want to say it's good to see everyone live.
Thank you. Committee reports?
I have a safety committee report.
Yes?
Okay, we met yesterday, last evening. We were discussing our three safety items, the police, fire, and service department. What we reviewed for the police department was the flock safety cameras. There was some discussion about transitioning our tasers, which are now black, to yellow. And the reason for that was because of the recent incident where a officer in another state, I believe, mistook her weapon for to use her gun instead of a taser because they were both black. So our current tasers are 8 years old and they have a lifespan of 10 years and they'll be in the budget for new ones for next year. We discussed the speed monitoring sign. Our second one is on order. And our chief reviewed the strategies for crime prevention in the village. Our fire chief discussed replacing the old mobile radios that are no longer supported by Motorola. He discussed regional operation policies that are being developed for policies with the departments that we coordinate with. There was discussion about during COVID not being able to have in-person training, and so it was replaced with online fire and EMS training, and discussion of the recent fires both in the village and at the Metro Park. And then our service director discussed the Mayfield Road and Chagrin River Road safety upgrades. And if you want any more details, let me know. But that was our meeting yesterday.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Larry or any other reports? Sandra?
The Gates Mills Land Conservancy met this morning. They had their monthly meeting and they are looking forward to making a presentation to council sometime next month at a date to be determined.
Actually, I'd like to not do it next month. I'd like to do it in May and have a special council meeting. So it'd be nice to come up with a date tonight that we could have them come, them being Rob as president and Nat Smith, Rob Galloway and Nat Smith come and speak to us and give the report about the Land Conservancy and where it stands and the look to the future.
Are you recommending at our June council meeting that they?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm recommending a separate meeting just discussing that sometime before our next council meeting. So that would be sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Are we gonna set
You have
that
some-
now?
It
or-
could be the first week of June also, I guess.
Do you have some suggested dates?
So the 17th to the 21st or the 24th to the 28th or the 1st to the 4th.
could maybe Jane send around a doodle poll,
We can
or
do that.
Janet?
I don't know if Jean can June do maybe you could do a doodle poll. Well, I know you know how to do it.
I know how to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
Remember that there's Memorial Day weekend in there too, so
Right.
there might be a little
Kind of
bit of.
tricky.
Well,
They might travel
I
more.
didn't count that.
No, I'm just saying it's looming out there.
tricky.
Yeah, it's
Before it would be better if we could do it maybe sometime next week, end of next week or something. I don't know.
We need to
Wednesday,
see how
Thursday.
much
I can't
time
do
they
it in
need
the
to
evening
prepare
or
too.
Right.
but-
Any night, really.
exactly.
All right, well,
That
send
might
a
be
doodle
little
poll.
quick next week, but maybe the week after
Right.
or early June. Thank you.
Okey doke. I think it's going to take an hour at least. And by the time we have a discussion, which is why I want to do it by itself and give it the time that it needs. Any other reports?
Anything on the cemetery?
Not at this time, Ed. I'm still working on it.
Is there any update about the master plan, when that's going to start?
I couldn't hear you.
Any dates for when the master plan is going to begin?
We haven't contacted them, but I'm thinking that it's going to be fall before we can really get together.
Playing it by ear, but again, before COVID, we had pretty much lined up the steering committee, people that had indicated they'd be interested. But then everything went on hold. And so I think in the next, obviously everything's changing week by week now regarding COVID and people's comfort level and the degree that people are getting vaccinated. So I think within the next month, we ought to poll and see if the main reason to not do it was that the consultant felt that it's very important to meet in person. So I think if we talk to our steering committee, if only half are willing to meet in person, it's not worth it. But if 90% are willing to meet in person, then maybe we can get going.
Maybe I would suggest maybe contact the company and see when they would be willing to get started and then do a poll with our
Well, right,
members that
right,
said they were willing to be on.
right.
We had
The
a,
weather improving, you might actually be able to meet outside.
That's a possibility too.
Yeah.
Or if we opened all the windows in here,
Right.
we had.
once we get the screens down.
We had a discussion in the safety committee meeting about the possible having a shot clinic here. And I don't know, Larry, can I bring it up or do you want to discuss it later?
You can bring it up.
We used to do shots here for flu and then all this happened. And I brought up the question about maybe we could do a shot clinic here again in community house for COVID. And I did investigate it today with Rite Aid and they said, we pick a date, any date, they would be here with one of their pharmacists and they could either provide either or the Moderna or the Pfizer, which I guess is now approved for 12-year-olds up
Mhm.
and no charge. And they would be here last minute or they would come during some other kind of a festivity here. Anything we wanted.
Maybe we could do it in conjunction with something that we're having and put it in the pink sheet.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And it's all free and they said they'd
Great
be
idea.
here last minute, no problems. Yeah.
All right, so we'll look into that. Maybe give us the contact and whatnot.
Yeah, I just, okay.
Good
I went
idea.
up there.
Great idea.
Anyone else? Okay, then we're going to move on to police department. Chief?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Trying to get used to this here. So I think everybody should have received a copy of my monthly
it's on
report.
now.
I will be happy to take any questions you might have. I know we have a resolution later on during the meeting. I thought maybe some questions might arise during that, after that resolution. So I don't really have much to say unless there's any questions. Just one real important piece I felt. So you'll notice number 3 there, my report. So it would have been a couple Saturdays ago on the 24th, took in 69 pounds on a lot of prescription medication. And that was kind of a big deal. It's the most we've ever had. And I should point out, Probably 70% of that was from our residents, but not all the communities did it. So we had some Chesterland residents, some Honey Valley residents, and some other area residents stop on by too. But it's very well received, very popular. So it was a fair amount that we took in.
Very nice.
How much? Great.
69 pounds. Yeah, and this is in addition to, we always also have our medication box on the side of the building. Yep, right over there. And we're getting another one. We're going to upgrade the one that we have free of charge. So we're hoping to see that here soon, but we took in a lot.
I have one quick question, Greg.
Yes, ma'am.
You talked about this vehicle, this electric vehicle.
Yes.
When you talk about the fuel savings, is there like an ability to quantify the amount of electricity that it takes to charge the car? I'm just curious. 'Cause,
Yeah, I
we're all
think,
talking about how it's basically free to drive an electric car, except you have to plug it in. So I assume that's
just,
cost something.
yeah, so just in talking to, some chiefs, it's projected depending on, the cost of electricity and, whatnot. But generally speaking, what I'm hearing is about 4 cents a mile to operate. So as far as, how much more that's going to be, I think we will be able to quantify that once we get going on it and once it goes into service. But
One of the advantages, and I would think particularly for a high mileage vehicle with electric, is they have many fewer parts
Right.
than gas powered. And so the maintenance is significantly less.
And it should go 500,000 miles,
Wow.
yeah, it should go a couple cycles.
which is 5 police cars,
Yeah.
because we're replacing a police car about every 100,000 miles.
Is this a company donating this or is this an individual?
This would be an individual who lives in the village.
Okay, so we don't have to advertise for the electric company or something.
No,
No,
it's strictly a donation.
That's nice.
Very nice.
Huge.
We
I
have
should
very
also,
good residents.
since we're talking about it, just because I was going to mention it, it's going to be a full donation. The resident is also going to pick up the cost of the upfitting of the vehicle, which, could be anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. And also, he's going to send his electricians down to go ahead and do the electrical hookup for us as well.
What a beautiful gift.
It is.
The car is very heavy too. It's almost twice as heavy as a regular car, so that makes it very safe too.
Yeah, and that was for me, that was the most important thing. I mean, it's a durable car, obviously. It's all-wheel drive. They all are. And then it'll function very well down here. And I kind of had a chance to drive it myself, so it's pretty exciting news for us.
Any,
Greg, will we
anything
need
else?
snow tires for that car?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get another set for sure.
I assume it'll rust just like any other car.
Yeah, well, what we're hoping to do with this is, what we will do, which is not ready for yet, we have some logistics to work out. We're hoping to keep this inside our Sally port. When the electrician comes down, we're going to see if we can keep the charging station inside there. Regardless of where it goes, we'll plan to keep that car inside, at least certainly during the winter months. So we want it to last, obviously, as long as it can. We think we can get 10 good years out of it, at least.
What color is it?
It's kind of like a charcoal gray.
Can we send some sort of official thank you from council to that?
We will.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the way I'm seeing this right now, I guess we'll just kind of get into it here now. As far as taking possession of the vehicle, we could do that at any time. I want to go ahead and make sure we're ready for it. So we want to go ahead and clear the Sally port out because it's kind of our catch-all right now, but we want to make sure before we take possession of it, we get that cleaned up. We're going to have to move some things around. We have some bicycles and things like that we have to find a home for. So we'll go ahead and do that, get the charging station down in here, and then there'll be some paperwork involved. I'm sure we'll go ahead and get that over to Todd to take a look at it for us. And then I'm hoping maybe by the end of the month, we'll go ahead and take possession of the vehicle. Janet looked into the insurance for us. Thank you, Janet, for that. I think we're talking about, it was about $1,000 a year. I think, Janet, 1,100. So
Yes.
not significant. And then we'll have some options what to do with our current car that was subject to be replaced next year. So, we'll get to that point. There's no rush to put this one in service necessarily right away. There's no rush for it. Want to make sure everything's done correctly, get some people trained on the car. So we will take our time with that. But our goal is to do at least a soft launch during the 4th of July parade. All the lights won't be on the car, or anything like that, but certainly it'll be marked up with the graphics. So that's our goal. And then, maybe sometime in August, we'll see how it goes. We'll get this thing out there up and running. And so at that point, we'll decide what we want to do with the car. I mean, there's all kind of options, we could move some things around in our fleet, possibly there might be an opportunity for another department to take the car. We can trade the car in, we can sell the car. So, I think at that time we'll have Armando take a look at our unmarked car with about 105,000 miles and see if that's still in good shape. We can get 2-3 more years out of it. Well, then maybe we'll want to move this car out. If if it feels like, might be a good option to keep this one, probably have about 85,000 miles on it, maybe we'll keep it. So, it's premature, but we'll figure that part out.
How long will it last on a shift? Because with all that power draw and the equipment,
So this will go about 350 miles.
with all the power draw off your equipment?
You know what? I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I talked to my upfitter about that already. He's gonna oversee it he will personally oversee the upfitting of the car. And he doesn't think it's gonna be a problem. And I think we'll work our way around that. I don't think it'll be an issue.
To be determined.
So Greg, with that mileage, it sounds like it's a new one.
6,200 miles. It's a 2019.
Wow, nice.
But I mean, with the range, that's a newer.
Yes.
model.
Right.
Yes. This is it's a S.
Right.
So there's 5 departments nationwide that currently have one in their fleet. Where would be, and we are going to get some good press out of this, no doubt about it. There's one other agency in Ohio, it's Logan Police. It's a suburb 45 minutes south, I believe, of Columbus. I talked to the chief. They're not in service yet. They ordered 2 of them. They're going to be in right around this time here. They might be in already. And then you have California, Fremont, California, where the Tesla plant is, the manufacturer out there. So their whole department's going green. There's one in Bargesville, Indiana. I put the article in the council packet there.
Right.
That's Indiana. And then there's not many, but we're trending in that direction for sure. I mean, you can see it right now with the hybrid vehicles that are out.
I think all
Yeah.
cars are.
Yeah, I mean, I could see 5 years from now, it being an option.
Greg, I read a long time ago, and I haven't read an update, that in really, really cold weather, the mileage goes down, how many miles you get on a charge. So just when you have your first cold day, which may be next week, but no, hopefully next fall, late fall, just beware and check that out. Have you found that, Sandra?
That's true. Yeah,
Okay.
it goes down quite a bit, actually, in the winter months. when you get
Yeah, and I noticed that in one of the graphs I was looking at, they had it broken down by month, and it looked like there was more energy being used toward the end of the year. October, November, December into January. So there's probably some truth in that.
Do you have any idea, like how many miles a day what a shift on a car?
Well, it depends. So ironically enough, so the car that we were going to replace next year just so happens to be the supervisor's vehicle. So they primarily concentrate on the south end of town, wherever they have to go. So we'll probably put fewer miles on this car rather than the other cars. The other cars have a tendency to go more toward the north end, where it's more spread out and wide open back and forth to the station. So I'm guessing we'll probably anywhere from ballpark be about 15,000 miles a year with this car
I was thinking,
a year.
if the problem is like how many miles you're going to get to a charge,
Well,
would a average shift?
oh, no, we're in good shape there. I'm sorry. No, I mean, the max would be 100 miles
Oh,
and you have
that wouldn't be a
350
problem.
with the charge here. That won't be an issue at all. About 3 hours to charge is what I was told. So yeah, that won't be a problem.
Again, to be determined, we're gonna look at it all.
That's great.
That's
Right.
just great. See how it works out. And
Yeah, and so that's exactly right. And you'll see how I have no doubt it's going to work out great. I mean, there'll be, in my opinion, there's going to be some significant cost savings when by the end of things with the car.
Absolutely. I mean, and it said in here about what there's something in here about the annual maintenance cost and.
Yeah, that's just a projection,
From
just from
mine-
talking to
from
the other.
mine,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
there's
like
nothing, and,
100,000.
there's other advantages too that I see. I mean, certainly free up the village mechanic a little bit here, with the one car, because, number one, he's we wouldn't want him doing the work on it, you know what I mean? I mean, special training and whatnot, but there's no hoses, there's no oil changes, there's nothing like that. He'll do, he could do the tire rotations if you wanted him to and replace some wiper blades, but they'll come out to you. It's a fully transferable warranty on this. They'll come right out and we can take it right down to the dealership.
5,000 might even be high.
Might be.
It's going to be terrific, I think.
So
Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't
okay.
have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Sandra, do you want to, while we're on safety, do the vests?
Oh, sure. The community club and in conjunction with the village is selling these lovely vests, pink and orange with Gates Mills icon picture on the back with a horse and rider, a little dog. They're available for $18 for the orange and $22 for the pink. We are going to do a reorder and get some children's sizes and have those available for the 4th of July parade. We'll be selling them over there. In the meantime, if anybody's interested and wants to pre-order or buy one of the ones that we have left, you can get in
How's
touch
it going
with
so
me.
far?
Out of that first day at the, on April 24th, when we were collecting
We had shredding day and we
Sludge,
had drug
shredding day.
take back all together.
we sold over 60, about 65.
Great. Good.
And since then, I think we've got 20 left.
Wow.
It's a terrific project because I can't tell you, the chief can tell you, and I've gotten the calls too about dog walkers at night. And if they don't have something reflective on them on our dark streets, you could be on them before you realize there's anybody there, especially if they've got a dark dog on top of it. It's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. I've been tempted. When I'm out at night, I carry these in my car. I'm tempted at night to stop when I see somebody walking with.
You need to
Buy
hope they
one of
have
my
cash on them.
vests.
Yeah.
Well done, though. I think it's a great project.
Good project, good item. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
Next is Service Department. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. You should have a copy of my monthly report. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. If there are none, that concludes my report. Thank you.
I want to say thank you for planting all the trees.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Next is Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. You should have received a copy of the fire department report for April. It was a fairly busy month for us, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Seems like at 34001 Cedar Road, we need some help in the kitchen.
That's Gilmore Academy, yes.
Oh, why do
Now-
they keep having this problem?
That address is tied to multiple buildings, so
Oh,
it's not always the cafeteria. Sometimes it's popcorn and microwaves. So they do occur a number of times.
maybe they need to do a slight education program. Maybe we
Well, I often said, we do provide smoke detectors and maybe cooking classes will be next.
Well, they could do something on their own without us. But we might want to say this takes valuable time from our fire department if it's
Yeah,
just
it's a thought.
popcorn.
If there are
Any
no
other
other,
questions for Tom?
that concludes the fire department report.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom became a grandfather again this week.
Hey, congratulations. Hey.
Okay, next is ordinance 2021-15. This is an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, which is NOPEC, their 2021 Energized Community Grants funds.
Move to accept.
Pardon me?
Move to accept.
Second,
Yeah, well, wait,
do we
wait.
have to suspend the rules?
Do we have to suspend?
Can I ask a question about the grant?
Yes.
Yes.
Question is, how much are they granting? And are there restrictions for the use of the grant?
It's $7,168 and we pretty much have it all used. We did some lighting updates in the service garage. We've bought insulated blinds in town hall. We're getting insulated blinds for in this building. And we'd like to put the rest that would be left from that towards the new ductwork that was just put in this building, which you can't see, but it's up there.
We'll talk about that next.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
Seems to be working well.
Do we
Thank
have to
you.
suspend or?
Yes.
I'll move to suspend.
Oh, second.
Allward,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. And now can we have a motion to,
To accept.
yes,
Second.
Allward,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
yes. Okay, next is resolution number 2021-16. A resolution authorizing an agreement with WF Hahn and Sons, which is Havsco, for replacement of the HVAC ducts at the community house, authorizing an expenditure of Village Cares Act funds and declaring an emergency. And this was ductwork that was crumbling and replaced with normal metal ductwork like you'd have in your house, which is a lot better for health all across the board.
Move to-
Wonderful.
Especially if we're going to end up continue to have our meetings like this.
Exactly.
This building has to be,
Or any event or
Right.
any organization that comes in here, it's just a healthier, heaven only knows what was in that stuff that was all crumbling. It
Was
was yucky.
there any discussion about, with the venting system of?
We need to suspend.
Okay,
Move to suspend.
second,
Allward,
Yes.
Frankel,
yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
yes,
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
Move to accept.
And then we
Well, no.
need a motion to approve 2021-16.
Well, I just wanted, I had a comment. The
I can't hear you.
ordinance, or the resolution is written that we can use we have $18,721 of funds remaining towards the 23,935. But I think this next round of federal money probably would apply to this.
We would be using some of the NOPEC money. That's about 4,000 that we have left from it.
Oh, okay.
So we'd only have about 2,000 left. And I don't think this will qualify for the next round, but.
Oh, okay. I just based on what the paper said
We would
today.
just take that out of the community house, normal
Okay,
budget.
I just, if it, just
But
be
yeah, we
mindful.
should have about 22,000 of this covered
Okay.
with the,
So-
between the two grants.
Move-
Okay.
Just of curiosity, could we also upgrade the HVAC in the council chamber if necessary to meet the kind of new standards that we need for
Well, we've
airflow?
spent the CARES money that we have received so far, and the 151 pages that came this morning, it's a possibility, but we have to look at it.
Right.
Right, well, I'm
That's all I'm
just suggesting that since we would want to use the council chamber in the
It's
future, that would
possible.
be a great, if Chip's right, that would be a great idea.
Absolutely.
So what I was going to add to that, I think similar to what you're saying, is that if we're going to upgrade, there are filter systems that can be added, like HEPA filters and UV filters. So that if you're having a meeting, you don't have to worry about viruses and things like that. So that might be something to consider.
We'll have to look at the new rules with the next round of money that we're going to get. I can't say we can, and I can't say we can't at this point.
Just something.
We're going to
think
look
about.
at everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave's
Also, leaving.
got a
the
whole
doors
list of things.
Pretty much moves the air around so that you.
Not as well as the
January,
circulator.
February, that's not.
Yeah, not so good in January.
No, I just meant for tonight.
Oh, yeah, no,
That
I'm not,
worked
I'm
really
just,
well.
I'm thinking in the future.
We're all freezing, but it's good.
No,
Okay,
kind
so
of comfortable.
if I'm having trouble hearing, I think you have to move the microphone just a little bit closer to everybody.
Yeah.
And so if I'm having trouble online, they've got to be having trouble. What's that? Or you can
Push-
bend it down
Yeah,
a little
bends
bit.
down.
Well, either
So it's
way.
closer to your.
Bend yours down too, yeah.
Bend yours down so it's closer.
Just the
No,
top
yeah,
portion.
just the top. There you
Okay,
go.
but I'm saying I couldn't hear you, so you're not into the microphone. or not.
Okay,
All right, move to
Now-
accept.
Okay,
second,
Allward,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
yes.
Turner,
yes,
Welsh.
Yes.
Whitney.
yes. Okay, next is resolution 2021-17. Larry?
This is the resolution to accept the donation of a Tesla electric vehicle for use by the police department of the village of Gates Mills. and we'd like to suspend.
Second,
Alberter,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh.
yes.
Whitney.
Yes.
And resolution number 2021-17 to accept the Tesla donation. Okay,
Second.
Alberter,
Yes.
Frankel,
yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Welsh.
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. Okay, next is on our agenda is business from the audience. And the first thing I got was we got a letter with some questions regarding, this was all things that came out of the Finance and Budget Committee and or long-range planning. Reduced village income tax credit was talked about, raise revenues because we were going to have a deficit, which things have changed by the monies that we've received. Also about the 1 mil levy for the Land Conservancy, which is coming up in November 2021. And which we're going to have a special meeting about here very soon. And then also the long-range projections, which were now offset by the increase in the income tax, and also our master planning process. Tim, do you want to speak to some of the things because you got it? Well, we all got the letter,
Yeah.
actually.
I guess what I'd say is that in the normal course of business, the long-range planning committee identified a whole, actually the letter asked or posited that now would be a good time to consider investments or expenditures that might over the long haul help the village reduce expenses or increase revenues. In other words, it's would be a good idea to consider investments in one way or another. And to which I'd say that we certainly have and will continue to do so. The long-range plan effort identified a number of projects that we put before council, that some of which have been put into effect, some of which are being studied, and some of which are being worked on. I think the more notable one may be the cell tower that Chip is working on, and there are several others. In addition to that, ideas come up both from council people and from interested and engaged residents all the time. And they're taken on board by the mayor and by other people in council and explored and acted on. So I agree without question that it is now is a good time, but I would say it's always a good time, particularly when we're in a very healthy financial condition, to consider whether or not there are good investments that we can make that will address what is, after all, a long-term structural deficit still, that we will begin to see rear its ugly head again in 3 to 5 years. So forewarned is forearmed, and we should be open to and aggressive about viable opportunities.
Yes.
If I might add my own perspective, yes, when you go back to our budget process last summer to our extensive long-range forecast process, we forecast a sizable deficit each year going forward. We then, right after completing that process, ended up with two very significant step-ups in our income tax revenue. And that is obviously, we then went back and updated the long-range forecast, taking those two numbers from 2020 and 2021 into account. And where we finished up our long-range plan process was we're going to need to try to debate how we're going to address these deficits. With this significant additional amount of income tax, which, at this point, we're not counting on seeing going forward again. We don't know that for a fact, but I think it's prudent to assume that was not something that's repeatable. And so instead, at the end of our 5-year period, we end up where we were 2 years ago. So the good news is that while we will be incurring some deficits, we've built up a significant cash reserve. So at least I, for one, don't feel that we should go running off and figure out how to spend this one-time, step up in the income tax. Obviously, if we saw that for another year, well, then we can certainly look at that. But just getting back to the kind of level of cash reserves that we averaged over the prior 5 years before going into COVID and facing our deficits. So I think we're being very prudent to use the windfall, so to speak, to fund our deficit over the next 4 years. And I don't feel a pressing need to sit here and figure out how to do more unusual projects now.
I don't disagree with that. I think it is prudent. What I would say is that, let me first say that I absolutely agree with the comment you made that we shouldn't be going out looking for ways to spend money. That's for sure.
Right.
That being said, to the extent that we can we identify investments that we can make that reduce expenses
Oh, gosh, yes.
or
all time.
increase revenues,
Right.
where there's, a return on those investments. Those are very prudent things to do that begin to ameliorate the deficit problem in the out years. So, and I think that was the general thrust of the email that was sent was, we should be open to appropriate kinds of, and I'm not going to use the word expenditures. I'd rather use investments in order to address the structural need. And I think we should be open to that.
And I think we are, shows the fact that out of long-range planning, the wastewater treatment action, we won't see the saving necessarily this year, but going forward next year, that's a substantial amount of money that we're
You bet.
gonna save. And then we also have the cell tower projects, which are still continuing to be investigated and
Yep.
getting response on. And we have the broadband investigation that's going on. And then we're also working with the Land Conservancy to come up to some sort of consensus in regards to that. So
Yeah.
we are working on those items that came out of long-range planning. Any other questions or business from you, Tom?
We had 12 people watching and no questions from the live stream.
Well, then I think I make a motion to adjourn unless there's
Second.
anything else to bring up in front of council.
I think we have a second. Allworder,
Yes.
Frankel,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Sog,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Welsh,
Yes.
Whitney.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We'll get better with this technology as we use it and go forward. Thank you.
Will our meetings continue to be here now?
He said, will
Will
the
our
meetings
meetings
continue to be here?
Until we get